It is kind of amazing how much of business and commerce and even education and healthcare has been able to be continued during this period. And so, we should all be real grateful that we have these technologies. I do think that we've kind of got a glimpse of the future during these past few months.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go back to the way it was. And so, while we had embraced remote work and flexible work environments, I think organizations are figuring out what they need and what they don't need and how they can operate even more effectively in the future. So I think there will be lessons, for all organizations to take forward from this that will help them, well into the future. Look, customers need, the full range of capabilities to be successful. And, I think people that were questioning remote work, aren't questioning it anymore. And, it's time to kind of reimagine businesses. And, another interesting thing is if you look historically at periods where there have been economic downturns, some of the most successful new companies are created at kind of the worst economic moments. And so I think there will be a bunch of clever folks out there that are looking at all these new technologies coming together, and new businesses will get created. And that's exciting. And existing businesses, of course, have to reimagine themselves as well. My personal view is that we're not going to go back to the way it was. And we've got this glimpse of the future, based on what's been happening. And we've learned sort of things that we need and things that we don't need. And, organizations are going to be better and stronger for this. And, that's going to take its form in every single organization a bit differently. But yeah, I think this is going to be a massive accelerator to the future. And I don't see us going back to the way it was. Well, we've had this digital transformation. I think there's a bit of a human transformation as well. I think people have been more empathetic and more selfless. I think our companies are becoming more human. You see dogs, popping up on, video screens, and, we're able to relate to each other, maybe in ways that we weren't in the past. So hopefully we carry a lot of that forward as well.
Beyond that, I think what companies are now thinking about is, if this pandemic was something that no one could have ever expected or anticipated, so now is the time for me to actually really think about the real architecture that I want to build to, comprised of both my on-premise infrastructure as well as my cloud architecture, to your point. And how do I need to actually spend the time and the cycles right now while everyone's attention is on preparedness and understanding, and they know what we went through to get to where we are. So for us, what that means is that we're obviously working with customers on distributed cloud security architectures. We're spending a lot of time with customers on hardening their work from home environment, and what are the long-term technology shifts that we may need to bring into the home, particularly for that high-end user, whether it's a trader in the financial services market or something else. And then our customers have been looking at evolving their sort of wide area networks between their branches, their mobile users, their private data centers, and the cloud. And I think this is going to accelerate their desire to simplify that environment and figure out, how do I, instead of me navigating this complexity of trying to figure out all my traffic flows and where they're going to go, is there a simpler way for me to just get my traffic moving securely and then have it delivered to the right place? And so we're having a lot of conversations. This is a combination of cloud security, SD-WAN, and the network in general. So that's a big discussion that we're having. In the service provider space, we have obviously seen, we launched a whole new portfolio of products in December, which the timing was very good, largely targeted at the next generation backbones and access layer, driven a lot by 5G and the capacity that we expect from that. Well, we got a little preview of the capacity surge in this work from home environment, and we've seen a lot of them upgrading their infrastructure. We've seen a lot of them now actually talking about accelerating the shift to 5G. And so that's a very timely transition for us that we're very excited about. And then when you look at this technology, we think that every industry is going to transform to some extent, but particularly you think about how governments around the world have been using WebEx to continue to meet and actually to continue to do business at a time where they're not, together. Healthcare is going to change forever with telehealth. Finally, I think we all understand what's happening in higher education, and they'll probably end up in a hybrid model where they'll have in-class students and they'll have remote students. And so all of those areas are areas of focus for us with our customers and our portfolio right now.
Right. And the first one is, and I'll say, I've been on lots of settings. I'm part of the business council, talked to hundreds of CEOs, and I'll say almost every single one has said they haven't seen any negative impact on efficiency and getting the job done, and mostly positive.
Yeah.
Right? Which is pretty stunning. Our IT systems, our ability to adjust rapidly. They're like, wow, this has gone pretty well in that respect. So I'll say first thing, the industry's been able to make this adjustment. And as I've described it, the new normal, we're not going back. Right? It sort of says then the next piece is, how are we going to keep doing this at VMware? And, we're shifting policies for, increasing amounts of distributed workforce. Maybe you don't need to fight traffic 5 days a week. Maybe 1 day a week is just fine, or 1 week a month, right? You can have a better quality of life that way. And, maybe you can live closer to parents or other things that, allow you to, have less carbon footprint, better house location, less traffic, give you more time back. So let's say we believe that to be the case. In fact, I expect that I'm going to close about 50 small offices this year.
Wow.
Right? And redesign our core offices to be less of hotels for offices and more for collaboration hubs, right? So we're making that shift because I do think it'll be a permanent shift, and I think we'll double or triple, going from maybe 20 to 50 or 60% of those who are primarily working from home or distributed workforce of our population. And for me personally, hey, I'm anxious to get back on the road. As I was joking to one of my team meetings, is I just need a hug, right? As well. But I do think that, the idea of big events and the need to be face-to-face to get work done will diminish. However, the value of face-to-face for relationship building, I don't think changes all that much. And when I have a relationship with Eric, hey, we can get together and get stuff done. But if I've never met you before, boy, I just really like to sit down and have dinner with you before, we have it. And I think that aspect of relationship. The other aspect is maybe innovation cycles, right? Where you're just rapid fire at the whiteboard interacting on things. And, I think those sort of aspects, relationship and real innovation collaboration, are those that, boy, I don't think anything, right, remote will quite replicate that anytime soon.
Episodes of the Looking Ahead podcast with Eric Kaplan are available on thinkahead.com and your favorite podcast platforms.